Hello and welcome to Pots and Trowels with me, Martin, and Jill Fish.
Hi.
And sadly no Sean again this week.
No, sorry, Sean's at home again. We're Pots and Trowels out and about again this week. We are at the brand new RHS Wentworth Woodhouse flower show. So it's absolutely fantastic. It's a brilliant setting. We're going to talk to Julie from Wentworth Woodhouse a little bit later on in the podcast. But for now, it's just, it's an amazing setting, isn't it?
We are. We're in South Yorkshire, near Rotherham, and it is a wonderful setting. This magnificent stately home is the backdrop to the show, and it's got all the usual show gardens, all their wonderful floral marquee exhibitors, and the sun is shining at the moment. So lovely place to be.
It is.
So we're going to be talking, as you say, to somebody from Wentworth. We've also got a miner's garden, haven't we, we're looking at?
We have, yes, which takes us both back to our childhood, really, doesn't it? Because we're both from a sort of mining background. But we need to, first of all, just say a quick thanks to our sponsors, Plant Grow. And actually, last week, when we were at the Great Yorkshire Show, so we have been getting out and about a little bit, haven't we, in the last few weeks? When we were at the Great Yorkshire Show, Plant Grow were there, and you had a really good catch-up with Steve.
So, Steve, this is first time at the Great Yorkshire Show. How has it been for you?
It's actually been very good, to be perfectly honest. We done the flower show earlier in the year, and the response was outstanding. So we thought we'd come back and do the Great Yorkshire. I've always wanted to come myself and visit the show, although I haven't seen much of the show since being here. But it's been great.
And what sort of response are you getting from the public? Because you've brought along a range of products, which we'll have a chat about. Is it to them something new and innovative, and they're interested in it?
It is new, it is innovative. They're looking at the product, they're feeling the product, and there isn't nothing out there like it. As I say before, we've grown everything and from the farm. As it is a completely new product, and it works really well. And unfortunately, the peat freeze what out there at the moment has got a bad name, but I'm really pleased.
Yeah, well, I've been using it and getting great results. So for those that don't know about the Plant Grow products, do you want to just talk us through, the basic mulch is how a lot of it starts, isn't it? How do you get that wonderful, friable, crumbly mulch?
Well, the mulch we stumbled on by chance, really, through running an AD plant, which we've got had at home, and we're foraging maize and rye crops for that. To feed, and we then extract the gas from that, and then we're left with a slurry at the end that we squeeze, and that's where we make our mulch from. So it's a foraged harvest product which has been chopped at 5 to 6 millimetres length. That's why you get the nice uniform size in the bag. And then the liquid, we have a liquid range.
So you squeeze it. If anybody wants to see how it's done, we did actually film with you on a very cold day last November to see the process and the big piles of it all waiting to go into the anaerobic digesters. So that is the raw material that you say you squeeze the juice out. That's a liquid feed. You use that back on the land, don't you? And then the byproduct is the mulch, which is brilliant as a soil conditioner in the garden.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Used it a lot on the garden at home, and obviously us getting out to the public now, and it works really well. It's a slow feed, so every time it rains, it's washing nutrients out of the mulch down into to help things. We also do a range of other products which has got a mulch in it, like the multi-purpose compost, which is a mixture of green compost, and then we do the raised bed mix, which has got a blended topsoil in. So the mulch is key to all our products.
Yeah, that feeds into them. And how are you finding people are getting on with the multi-purpose? We've been using it, and it's got, it feels almost like, because of the mulching, it's got that sort of peaty, fibrous texture, which I think the roots really like, but it's also got the nutrients as well, hasn't it?
That's our best seller now. The multi-purpose is our best seller. And the key thing about our multi-purpose is because it's got the Plant Grow natural fibres in, they just act like a sponge. So a lot of the peat free at the moment, you water at the top and you can just see it go straight through. Where ours is actually a sponge, and it holds the moisture with adequate drainage. But it keeps. I'm terrible at gardening, terrible at my hanging baskets, but mine just hang in a lot longer now.
Yeah, I found that it does hold the moisture, but like you say, it doesn't get waterlogged like some of the others. It drains as well, but it's got that moisture retention and a good reserve of nutrients in there. Are there additional nutrients, or is there sufficient nutrition in the mulch to keep it going for the season?
Well, no, there's a whole package of nutrients in it. So there's within the plant growth fibres, you've got your normal NPK. You've also got copper, zinc, magnesium. So there is just a whole family of nutrients.
Yeah, you're getting all the trace elements as well. That's great. Well, it's good. So we'll hope you get loads and loads of response. As I say, if you want to see the video, it is on our YouTube channel, The Plant Grow, and it is a fascinating story. And we'll put a little link on to your website so people can find out more about it. So I hope you have a lovely day. We're standing in the shade at the minute because it's a bit of a scorcher, isn't it?
Been a lovely show, and it's nice to be in the shade. But thanks, Martin, very much.
And thank you for your continued support, Steve. Thank you.
Well, it was great to catch up with Steve, and Daniel was there earlier on in the week as well. It was hot for them though, wasn't it? Because they were in sort of full sun the way they were facing with their gazebo. But I think they survived it.
I think they did, and they had lots of inquiries and interest in their product, which we've been using, and it's really good stuff. So hopefully we'll see them at other shows maybe later on in the season. But here we are, as we said, we're at Wentworth Woodhouse show here, the RHS show in South Yorkshire, and we're sitting out near the long borders at the moment. And these are really interesting, aren't they?
They are, yes, and every one is different. How big are the borders? They're sort of made out of sleepers, aren't they? Sort of 3 sleepers high. No idea on the size of them, but they're a reasonable
they're
size.
3 sleepers long, and I think their sleepers are about 2.4 metres, so they're about 7.5 metres long and 2.5 metres wide raised.
Yeah.
So like a giant raised bed,
Yeah.
but they're planted in all different styles. These are, some are herbaceous borders. We've got some with sort of planted containers on them. We've got
There's a Japanese
that
one
is
as
amazing.
well.
Yes.
Yeah, and some gorgeous colour on them. I mean, some you sort of go from one which is all greens to another one which is sort of pale lilacs and creams and whites, and then the one that's actually in front of us at the moment is just a pop of colour. It's got red gladioli and oranges and nasturtiums and some white marguerites in there. So it's all extreme of colour, but they all look absolutely beautiful.
They do, and lots of the designers, they're young designers. Some are sort of still at college. First time at a show very often, so it's like a stepping stone maybe onto a larger show garden. And I think the quality of them is absolutely superb. And they're down the main walkway from the big house to the floor marquee, so it sort of marks the way. So it works really well. And the house behind us is magnificent. It is the longest fronted house, I think, in certainly the UK, thought to be Europe, and we wanted to find a little bit more about the history of Wentworth Woodhouse, so we caught up with Julie, who is from the Wentworth Woodhouse Trust. Well, we're with Julie from Wentworth Woodhouse at the moment on the portico, and it's all very, very grand, isn't it, Julie?
Oh, it is indeed, yes. It doesn't get much grander than this stately home.
No, I mean, it is massive, isn't it? Just, tell us just a little bit about Wentworth Woodhouse.
Yeah, well, it's an absolutely fantastic building with a massively rich history, full of intrigue and exceptional political connections, etc. Not just for the local area, but for the nation. It's a building that is enormous in size. It's got a 3-acre footprint, and the stables as a 1.2 acre footprint besides this. Most people, when they're coming down the park on an ordinary day, they think the stables are the stately home.
Yeah, they are massive.
Yeah, and then they come down here and it's like, oh my goodness.
Am I right in thinking, if you look at it from the front, the facade is the longest house in Europe?
Well, it's definitely the longest house in the UK, because we've recently had a bit of a competition with some of our lovely other stately homes nationally, and we have been confirmed as the longest facade, certainly in the UK and possibly even Europe as well.
Okay, and am I right in thinking, having read the book Black Diamonds, which is all about the history and the Fitzwilliam family that built this, amount of rooms, is it 365? Have I got that wrong?
That's debatable, and it depends what you call a room, really, because even a broom cupboard here is quite large, so it's quite difficult to actually count them. But I certainly think, along with the stables, yeah, you're talking about that sort of number, yeah.
Okay, and obviously the family have long gone. It's now owned by a trust, isn't it? And it's gradually being renovated back to what it was.
Yes, that's right. It does belong to the Wentworth Woodhouse Preservation Trust, so we exist purely to try to help to save the building. There's plenty of work to be done here, lots and lots for the next several decades at least, and probably forever, to be honest, hopefully.
Yeah.
So can the public come in and look around the house, or is it just the outside that they can enjoy?
Oh no, they can come and look around the house. So we are open Tuesday to Sunday every day of the week. We close on Christmas Day usually. We might even have Boxing Day off this year, I'm not sure. We might be a bit radical and have 3 days off a year. So we open Tuesday to Sunday every week, and we run tours and events, historical tours, as well as different sorts of tours like conservation tours, for example, which I run personally. We do all kinds of things here, not just like, I mean, this is the biggest we've ever done. This is a very, very big show for us. But we do run other shows. So we've got the Food and Drink Festival coming up, for example. We've got a bike race in August. So we've got a very busy calendar in August. We've got tightrope walkers in the back at the back end of August as well for our Wee Wonder Festival, which we run each year.
Because I suppose that's important to raise funds, because when you took over, the trust took over, I think it was in quite a poor state of repair, wasn't it?
Yes, and it's fair to say it still is, but we've been concentrating on getting the really critical things done, like new roofs. So we've put on new roofs on about 65 to 70% of the mansion, but still got quite a lot to go. But we've spent multi-millions doing that. So just this central east front here alone cost 5.2 million. The scaffold alone was 1.2 million, and that took us a couple of years to complete that. And if you look above here, got this beautiful ceiling, which we totally renovated that in. We finished that in about 2021 as well.
And can we see Wentworth Woodhouse on the telly? Has it been used as a film set or anything like that? Because it's so magnificent.
It has indeed. So the Downton Abbey movie, for example, the final ballroom scene was actually filmed here. It says it was at Harewood House. It wasn't. It was actually here. So Hugh Bonneville was just stood exactly where you're stood now. Yeah.
Some people get me confused with Hugh Bonneville.
Well, I can see the resemblance, absolutely.
Yeah, and any other things we might have seen on the telly?
Yeah, Darkest Hour. Again, when Winston Churchill stood on the balcony addressing London, he's actually stood on Wentworth Woodhouse balcony here on the portico overlooking Rotherham.
Right, exactly.
We need to re-watch some of those then, don't we?
Absolutely, yeah, the Whistle Jacket room, which is the gilt room at the end here, one of the principal staterooms. That one, it often doubles up as Buckingham Palace. And actually, in the Crown series, I think series 5, if my memory serves right, that was also a bedroom in the Kremlin.
Oh, really? Oh, right. So every time we watch something historical, we might be seeing a bit of Wentworth Woodhouse.
Absolutely.
Do you have a favourite bit? I mean, the estate is huge, isn't it? And obviously the house as well. Is there a favourite bit that you just, every time you see it, you just think, yes?
Sometimes you forget, and because I don't enter from the front of the house normally, I go in through the servants' quarters at the back generally. Sometimes if I do drive around the park because I'm parked elsewhere, I get that tingly feeling, and you just look at the building and you go, oh, wow, and you remind yourself just of the wowness of it. I'm particularly fond of roofs and drains because I've spent 5 years as a sort of maintenance manager here, so I like all the intricate bits. So like the beautiful cornicing up there that you can see, you can see some that's been replaced, that was falling to bits, and so I love those really intricate carved pieces of stone and things like that. Yeah.
Which often you don't see when you're sort of just walking and looking at eye level.
Yeah.
You need to look up, don't you?
You do need to look up everywhere here.
Yeah.
And we haven't got a collection in the house, so although we have exhibitions in, we don't have a lot of furniture, because all that furniture was sold many decades ago, most of it anyway. But it makes you look at the artistry, the artisans that did all the plaster work, etc. You can appreciate their skill. And one of the things I was thinking about the other day with the RHS show here is you've got these fantastic floral artisans that are doing these magnificent displays, and they're shown off by the beautiful skill of all those craftsmen so hundreds of years ago who were just as skilled in a different way.
Exactly. We don't build them like we used to do we?
No, but believe me, there are these skilled people still around.
Still can do it. You can find them,
absolutely,
which
yes.
is great that
and,
they
and
can.
quite a lot of them local as well, which is
Good.
brilliant.
Absolutely. Keep it local here in Yorkshire. Absolutely. And of course, with a magnificent house like this in the day, there would have been beautiful gardens all at the back, because I think the Camellia House, which we're going to have a look at, has all been renovated as well, hasn't it?
It has indeed, yes. So that is open to the public to eat in there, pre-booked dinners, and we are actually sold out at the Camellia House, which is great. We're also sold out on our afternoon tea, which we're doing down here. But the Camellia House is very pretty. Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, we're going to have a look round there.
We need to have an explore, but I think the show's about to open, so we need to go to work.
We do, yes. And one day I'm going to come back and do a tour, because I'd love to have a look in some of the rooms, because obviously these weren't all family rooms. There'd be an awful lot of staff members here, so they would just have a poke round.
Yeah. So these the staterooms would have always been used for showing off, really, these front ones. The family always lived at the back of the house on the Baroque side, the red brick side, and then there's quite a lot of different rooms at the wings as well that we use for very different functions, including the bit where I hang out mostly, which is the servants' quarters.
Yeah, well, that's perhaps where we'll be as well. All right, Julie, thank you. It's been fascinating just to get a little insight as to Wentworth Woodhouse.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lovely to talk to you. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
It was great to have a wander around, wasn't it? And I think we were saying with Julie as well, weren't we? The best thing to do is to look up all the time, because the ceilings and the architecture inside the hall, of course, it's not furnished, is it, as such? But there's still a lot to see inside, and there are some fantastic statues as well, aren't there, which are original to the hall when it was in full use.
Yeah, I mean, some of the rooms are not many, because it was all cleared out when it was last used, basically, when the last Earl went in the 70s, and then it was a teacher training college or something. But I had a wander around a few days ago when we were judging.
Did you?
And I went into some rooms where it said no admittance, and it's fascinating. But there is furniture in some. They've dressed them in the style. There's a library area, some old Chesterfields, even a bedroom they've set out. So it's fantastic. I would love to come back and explore more.
Yeah, and it was great to see our friends from the Sheffield Floristry School as well. They're doing some demonstrations as well, aren't they, inside the hall?
Yeah,
So,
they're in the old ballroom, which is an amazing. You can just imagine them dancing in their crinoline dresses in there, many, many years ago.
Yeah.
So still to come on this episode, we're going to be talking about the Miners' Garden that's been created with Chris Myers and a friend of Pots and Trowels, who you may have seen doing television coverage about the show over the last few days. So we'll be catching up with that later. But I think we've got some questions, haven't we?
We have, yes. So the first one is from Bumble1612, who lives in Fife in Scotland. And Bumble was watching the How to Trim Your Box video, which I think went out in June, maybe a year or so ago. But Bumble is very concerned because they missed doing their box trimming in June this year. They've been planted for 2 years and they are growing vigorously. Should they wait until August or September now to give them their first trim? So they've not been trimmed at all up to now.
Okay, well, I wouldn't worry too much. If you haven't pruned them yet, you could give them a trim. Depends how much growth they've made on it. If you think they've put quite a lot on, I would give them a light trim now, just to try and maintain the shape.
Even in this hot weather?
Well, it's cooling down a bit, isn't it?
Is
Lots of places. We've had some rain now. If it was still late 20s, 30 degrees, then I would say no. But if you get a nice cooler day, and you've had some rain and it's a bit overcast, be ideal to give them a light trim. And you can always then give them a second trim late August, early September. But I think a little bit of a trim now won't do them any harm at all.
Okay. Right, well, Carol Wilkinson has doing a little bit of rescuing. She saw in a garden centre a bay tree which desperately needed rescuing. It's so sad, isn't it, when you see them on the reject trolley and you just think, I need to save that plant, no matter how bad it looks. And you can get some bargains doing that, actually, can't you? So well done, Carol. Anyway, she cut it back and tidied it up, and it's surviving, but it does need to fill out. So how can Carol encourage it to sort of really bush out and make a feature?
Okay, well, as long as it's making some new growth, that's the main thing. Obviously, keep it watered and fed so that it puts on this lovely growth. Have we got the old the musicians in the background there? But then what you can do, because they often want to make quite tall, vigorous growth, as a result of cutting them back, they put all their vigour into new growth. So what you can do is to either pinch those new shoots out or just trim them back a little bit with a pair of secateurs, and that will encourage them then to bush out. So it's trimming it, bush it out a bit, let it grow, trim it again. So that way you gradually build up that sort of thick head of new stems so that you can create the shape that you want.
Okay, right. Oh well, when it's got going, Carol, then send us a picture of it and we can pop that on the podcast as well. Now we've got a fuchsia question from Clinos Morgan, forgive my pronunciation, but I hope that was okay. A fuchsia problem. So they say, why are my fuchsias dying? Oh dear, I'm sorry to hear that. The first leaves just wither and have dropped off completely. And they're not a novice at growing fuchsias. They've been growing for 30 years with no problems. They're grown in a peat-based compost with perlite and topsoil. She lost several outside in baskets and also pots in greenhouses.
Well, it just so happens we have a top fuchsia grower with us here, Colin Jones from Llewellyn Fuchsia's Nursery in North Wales.
And pots and trowels friend.
Absolutely, yes. So Colin, you've seen some pictures that have been sent in. What do you think's been the problem?
I think on a hot year like this, it's been an unusually hot year. Fuchsias don't tend to like it and they tend to wilt in the day. And people overwater then easily, you know. So with fuchsias, it's always best to let them dry out before watering again. Chances are it's slightly overwatered, so somewhere nice and cool, kept on the dry side, they should recover.
All right, you think they'll come back?
Yeah,
Would you cut them back, Colin?
Yes, I'd cut them back definitely, yeah. Quite harsh. Cut them right back. Defoliate, take everything off, somewhere cool and somewhere dry for a while. Yeah.
Thank you. Good luck with that. Hope they regrow.
And then our last question comes from Siobhan Penny. And Siobhan's got a plum tree that hasn't had its June drop. So I think we were chatting about this on a previous podcast, weren't we? Probably in June, and talking about the June drop. But this plum tree hasn't. It's its third year producing fruit, and there is quite a lot. So I think Siobhan's a bit worried because she doesn't want to thin the tree, the plums, and then the June drop happens a bit late, and then she'll lose too much fruit. So what can she do? Would it be the right time?
Yeah, I mean, we're coming up now to the third week in July. This is going out, I think, I'm just looking at my watch, goes out the 20th of July. So any that are going to fall off would normally have fallen off by now. They tend to go yellow and fall off when they're quite small. So the tree is obviously happy and it's trying to now sustain all of these fruits on it. So you've got two options. You could leave them on, but you'd get lots of smaller plums. And in a way that can then stress the tree a little bit so it won't produce as many plums next year. So I would be tempted now to take some off, thin it out a little bit, select any that are slightly smaller, leave the best, and just forfeit a few of the fruit, so the ones that you leave on will get to a bigger size. It'll be less stressful for the tree. I don't think many will fall off naturally now. I think if they were going to fall off, they would have fallen off in that really hot weather when the tree was a little bit stressed. So I think you've now got to go in. The June drop's finished. Just get on and thin them out a little bit.
Okay, there's a little add-on as well. Oh, we've got some singers in the background as well. It's great, gives a really nice atmosphere. The plum tree is also smothered in ladybirds and larvae. She doesn't want to disturb them, but she's conscious that she needs to prune later on. How can she prune to not get silverleaf?
Right, well, silverleaf is a fungal disease that gets into the sap of the tree, and then it's a fungal disease, as I say, and it can cause damage. You get a silver sheen on the foliage, but then you get these bracket fungi and it will kill branches. It tends to get in through the winter months, so that's why we always say prune from after blossom till about the end of August, when the spores aren't in the atmosphere. If you were to prune in the middle of the winter, the spores are around. So you've got time, you've got another 5-6 weeks that you can prune it. So aim to prune by the end of August. If you've got to thin some shoots out, shorten some of the long new growth, by then your ladybirds and the larvae will have probably moved on. And to be fair, if you're pruning a branch out, what you could do is prune the branches out if you're worried, that's a good high note on there, isn't it? I don't know whether you can hear this at home. But what you could do is just lay the branches underneath the tree, prune them out, put them on the floor for a few hours. The ladybirds will then probably think, oh, I've been cut off, find their way back into the tree. So you're not going to kill them by pruning a few branches off.
Okay, all right. Back to the show then, because we've got the sound in the background giving us a bit of atmosphere. The RHS always have some feature gardens, don't they, at the shows? And I know there's one which features a BMX track, so it's sort of a track, so it's getting kids into the garden and sort of enjoying that space. But one of the others that is quite close to our hearts is a miner's garden. Now, my grandfather on my mum's side, they were all miners. Your family have got mining in the background.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely. I'm the first fish directly on my dad's side. My dad was, my granddad going back. First one not to be a miner since 1792. So, yes, it's really interesting to see this because it's so many memories of allotments and village miners' gardens.
Yeah, and you even met up with one of our pots and trowels friends.
We did, yes. Arit was there. So she came to have a look. Arit Anderson, who is really responsible for us doing the podcast in the first place. So she was there and we went and had a look at the garden together. Well, I'm in the miner's garden now at Wentworth Woodhouse, and this is a garden that's been created in the style of, what a miner would have had a garden like many years ago, and it's been designed and put together by Chris Myers. Hello, Chris.
Hello.
So how did this all come about, this miner's garden?
This was an RHS idea, to be honest with you. Wentworth Woodhouse, heritage, coal mining, it all comes together at this place. Coal mining is massively part of the history of this place. And they felt that if a garden could be created that represented that coal mining history and fused with gardening, because that's what the show's about, it would be an absolute winner. So they asked me, as a Yorkshireman, thinking I know all about coal mining, even though I don't know much because I'm from the Yorkshire Dales where there isn't any coal, they asked me if I'd conjure up a cunning plan.
Yes.
So I had to do some serious research because I didn't know much about coal mining other than Arthur Scargill and picket lines, which I remember from when I was a kid. So I came down to Wentworth Woodhouse and I met some lovely people who remember, they're from the local community and they remember great granddad being a coal miner, but more excitingly being a gardener. And they told me some amazing stories and conjured up some fantastic images in my head. I wrote 6 pages of sort of notes as to what needed to go into this garden if it was going to be what they said it was back in the 50s and 60s. So that's how it kind of all came about, and that's how the image and the idea formed.
Yeah, well, I think you've made a really good job of, how you've interpreted it, because I come from a mining background. My dad's family were all miners, and some of the things you've done here, just spark so many lovely memories. So that is great. And we've got Arit with us, Arit Anderson. Hi, Arit.
Hi, good to be here. I mean, it's so lovely to see the garden that Chris has created because it's very atmospheric, because obviously not having any of that heritage near me down in the south, as it were. And I just love the detail. I mean, doing RHS feature gardens, I've been lucky enough to do one as well. But, you've put so much detail into this, Chris. I mean, everything, the washing line and the vegetable growing and, the boots outside, and really, really kind of conjuring up that idea of what it must have been like. I can almost imagine the coalman coming in, they're just check a few of their veg while they're sort of filthy dirty, go in, get a shower. It's not heavy gardening, and I think you've really captured that here.
You said get a shower. There's the tin bath just there.
Only on a Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go.
Only once a week, whether you need it or not.
And the first thing they did was have a cup of tea, apparently. They'd come home, they'd check their veg, like you said, and then they'd make a cup of tea, and then they'd get on and potter.
Yeah.
Potter until it got dark.
Yeah. Well, I remember my uncle was a miner, and he didn't have a garden like this. He had his allotments, but I was saying to Chris the other day, you could find my uncle. He was either down the pit, he worked on the coal face, or he was down one of his many allotments growing huge amount of veg and cut flour, or he was in the pub. And that's what you've heard similar stories, haven't you, Chris?
Like I say, I came away with 6 pages of notes.
Yeah.
I think people have referred to attention to detail when they've looked at this garden, but the fact is I just had to put all of those notes in here. Yeah. Otherwise I would have felt like I hadn't delivered.
Yes.
The ladies gave me such a vision of that nostalgic past that they remember, and I was charged with recreating that, and I thought if I'm going to do it, I've got to include everything. And I have, other than comments at the show, time and time again, where's the pigeon loft? So if I were to go back and do it all again, I'd definitely have a pigeon loft as well.
Yeah, no, they used to have them down on the allotments, always painted either red or white or blue and white stripes. But you have got rabbits.
Yeah, I mean, the rabbits was what I saw first, actually, when we come onto the garden, when we've been doing some filming here, and I just made sure that everybody clocked the fact that rabbits are there. I mean, of course, no real bunnies have been hurt at all. You know, we have our little toys. But, you know, again, Chris, I mean, these are the sorts of things that, again, get people thinking about what that life would have been like, and I think it's really come to life. How big is this plot?
This plot is 12 metres wide and it is 22 metres long.
Yeah.
So it's quite a big one.
Yeah. So I mean, for anybody just to know, that is what we would call a large show garden at Chelsea. So it's quite a big space to kind of to fill. And you know, and how many weeks did you get to build it?
Well, we came down to Wentworth Woodhouse 2 weeks ago today. So obviously the show's been on a couple of days, so 12 days to build on site. We spent most of June fabricating the shed, the greenhouse, making the cottage, because we made all of these features ourselves. And then before that, we had really just most of May to grow things. We started in early May sowing seeds. The wildflower meadow that I've grown was, you know, created back in the beginning of May, and we crossed our fingers that it would grow, especially when it got hot and dry. Yeah, so not too long, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, again, that's actually less time than you get at a Chelsea garden. So I'll take my hat off to you to that, because they get 18 days actually on site. And what have the visitors said? Because I mean, we were all here. I think we've done some links from the garden.
Yeah.
So you know, you'll be seeing that on the telly, which is always nice. But what have the visitors said?
Well, that was the thing I was most nervous about, to be honest, because whilst this hasn't been judged, it felt like there was more pressure than a show garden would ever have on it, and that's because I was creating this for the people of Wentworth Woodhouse, and I thought if they come and look at it and say this is nothing like what it was in the past, I would have failed. But they're coming in, they're looking. I actually had a lady crying earlier. It reminded her of her grandfather and him being a coal miner and growing his own. And there have been so many comments like that. People have come and said, yeah, my dad was a coal miner. He grew fruit and veg. He grew prize-winning leeks. He had rabbits. So it really has ticked all the boxes, and that's a big sigh of relief. And
I think the fact that there has been a queue of people all day long, and this is a garden that you can walk through, and they've been walking through. The fact you've had that queue of people all day long actually says an awful lot. And as well as the rabbits, which of course would probably not have been pets, they would have been for the old pot, wouldn't they? Well, and
for eating.
Oh yes, they used to eat them. I remember them having them. But I love the shed, because you've got, you know, the old pit helmet, hobnail boots, NCB donkey jacket. Oh, and the Davy lamp. It is wonderful. It really, really is. And I think you've done a great job. Have you got any rhubarb?
No rhubarb, no. I think I've made a big boob there, really.
Oh, no, you're going to have to do it all again now.
You're the first person to mention that, so maybe, I thought I'd got away with it, to be honest.
Well, we'll let you off.
Well, there is rhubarb in the actual house, so actually there is a rhubarb
Yes.
chapel, so we can kind of sort of say that it's being paid homage to in the chapel, in the
I didn't want to
house.
steal their thunder.
Exactly. Well, I think you've done an amazing job, and don't you, Arit? It's fantastic.
No, it's been great. Really good to see it.
What we need now is to get the bathtub out there, get a nice strong cup of tea, and we're well away, yeah?
Well, absolutely, and maybe use the outside toilet as well.
Oh, yes. Is it newspaper for the toilet paper?
It is, yeah.
Brilliant.
Attention to detail.
Yeah.
It's all there.
Thank you. Well, it was so lovely to see the miners' garden, and it did evoke memories, really, of, you know, the allotments in the pit villages and what people grew in their gardens.
Yeah, but I never had a bath in a tin bath.
No, I think that was a bit before my time. My uncle used to do. I remember him having a bath in a tin bath on a Sunday.
You
definitely.
wouldn't put the water in too hot, though, at first, would you? You'd burn your bum.
Well, he used to carry it into the living room. We'd all have to sit in the kitchen, and then they'd have an old copper in a shed. He would heat the water. And this is going back in the 60s, probably early 70s. Carry the water through, have his bath, and then he would have to ladle it all outside, and it would all be chucked on the garden.
Well, I was going to say, reuse your water, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially with hosepipe bans coming in England. We could bring it back.
We could, yeah. We've got a tin bath. It's not quite big enough, but we'll probably get one in at a time.
No, thank you.
Okay, so there you go.
Right, I think that's all we've got time for.
It
now.
is, yes. We will be back next week. Sean will be with us, so we can catch up. And if you've got any gardening questions, then just send them in via email. It's info@potsandtrowels.com, and we'll answer them next week.
But Sean will be back with us next week because we're still out and about, but we're going to be at Chorley Flower Show and Sean's joining us there. So we look forward to chatting to you then.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.
Watch the videos on YouTube or Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter or X, and subscribe to the podcast and never miss a thing. For more information, go to potsandtrowels.com.